Hi, sir.
Good evening, guys.
Evening.
Good evening, sir.
There is an off tomorrow. That is one. And today also, I'll just wind up 5 minutes early to 10. I have something important to attend. But then, of course, next week, Monday, it will be regular. Okay. So today, I'll wind up 5 minutes early. And tomorrow is an off, but we'll have plenty to cover from Monday onwards. It'll be regular hour extended sessions. Every day I will tell you that I'll not extend, but you know how this goes. So, okay. So let us start. I, by the way, you guys did your this thing, CV thing?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It
But
is not started. I just asked.
you are in touch with the support team, right?
Yes.
They said actually it will be on Saturday, and I'm not sure which Saturday, but
No, actually next week actually, because this
Okay.
because this week actually some holidays, right? Means tomorrow is holiday. That's why they schedule. I mean Tuesday, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but they said actually next week we will schedule this thing.
And there is no clear schedule actually for that one.
Yeah, but he will.
Yeah.
I also communicate with that guy.
Mm.
So he said, "Oh, next week I will schedule."
Yeah, that's
In any case, if it happens, great. If it does not happen next week, 100% make sure it happens. And in any case, I will also share with you a sample CV and share with you the what are the basic things that you have to put there. But it's a hit and trial thing. If your CV is getting calls, bingo. If you are not getting calls, then you have to change little bits. So there is no exact science, but there are certain things you have 100% you have to put in. There are certain do's and don'ts. They will cover in detail. Then obviously you will do an ATS score also. There is something called ATS score. So you can go to Naukri or just Google ATS score. Put your assess how much is your ATS score as high as is possible. And then there are other tricks and tips I'll tell you once you go through that session. But there is no exact science. I've seen very bad CVs getting a lot of calls, very good CVs also not getting calls. So there is no exact science. So if you hit the jackpot, you start getting calls, don't change it then. But till the time you don't get calls, we have to tinker here and there.
Yeah, hi, sir. This is Rupa.
Hmm.
Yeah, before that, I would like to connect with you because I'm completely from non-IT. So the Scrum is as well, it's new for me. So I thought of checking with you. Maybe whenever you are free, maybe we
Yes.
can connect.
Yes. Okay, maybe next week, after some class, I'll.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's start here. I think we had finished. A few blockers were still pending here.
I think 12 blockers we completed.
No,
12,
did I
30.
complete technical debt and all those blockers? No, right?
No.
Yeah. So we completed, I think, quite a few, around 13, 14, 15.
Yeah,
But still, there are few blockers which might have remained. Couple of blockers from the organization's point of view is there is leadership resistance. So they want fixed dates. They would say, okay, I want this feature. So let us say they want feature X. They want to integrate AI into our food application. And they will say, okay, give us an estimation. Your team will say, okay, 10 weeks. But this is where the problem is. If you give a fixed estimation or a fixed date of doing something, that's a problem because you are assuming that you will get it first time right. They want a feature and you will give them after 10 weeks, it will work perfectly. This is exactly how these people will want. And this is not how real time it works. In fact, I have a meeting now after this. This is exactly where one of the problems is. These people don't understand it is very difficult to get first time right, especially when you are building new products or new features. You cannot get it first time right. So how agile works is it says incremental and iterative. So if you want a feature, divide it into sub functionalities and then deliver it after every 2 weeks, and based on the feedback you try to improve it. So after 10 weeks you have a completed product, but it is you will have multiple chances to view that product and give your feedback. But leadership is not okay with it. They want fixed upfront plans. They don't understand iterative delivery, and that's a big blocker. Especially if you are a senior scrum master, you need to understand this culture. Even with 3-4 years of experience, you have to understand this culture. You cannot produce a feature in one shot. It has to be step by step or iterative way. And you get a feedback, then you work on it. If you show the customer something after completing everything, then where is the scope of getting the feedback and fixing it? Your developers, your testers are under so much trouble and tension and stress that they have to get right they're doing it something for the first time and they have to get it right. It doesn't happen. So that is why these people struggle. So that is how agile got into prominence and popularity. It said it is very difficult to get things right first time. That is the same thing, right? You can't clear your first interview if you have no Scrum experience. After one interview, you get some feedback. Then another, you get some feedback. Another, you get some feedback. Then you improve. So this is exactly how you have to deliver a feature also. So based on the feedback. But if you assume that first time you are going to get it right, so that is also one of the big blockers. The leadership wants fixed that. They don't understand iterative delivery. They want to skip unit testing. They want to skip QA testing. They want to skip critical bugs. I just need a delivery. I don't care. And the corporate is so cutthroat, especially in India. In India, we don't care about quality much because that's how the culture is. So, but if you can get that understanding there, then we can save a lot of projects like that. So you have to be acting as a bridge between the traditional leadership and the agile way of working. Traditional leadership says, I want this feature and I want a fixed date. You say, boss, we will divide the feature into 10 different parts or 5 different parts or 15 different parts, and then we will deliver each part by part, but you will give us the feedback. So we are not going to wait 10 weeks to give it to the client. Client can see it after every 2 weeks, but based on the feedback we'll improve. But after 10 weeks, we'll have a very robust product because it would have gone multiple rounds of iteration. So this is the mindset that you need to know. If you can exhibit this mindset, especially good Fortune 200, 300, 400 companies, they will, in those interviews, you will have people who understand these things and they will pick you up. So this mindset thing is a thing which Lala companies will not, but good companies will. And okay, so then another problem is no clear vision. Product owner does not know how to do an evolution. Evolution of a product is like PlayStation. PlayStation started with the basic video gaming. Then it says, I'm going to give you video streaming apps. Then it says, I'm going to give you audio streaming apps. Then it says, I'm going to give you some video platform to chat. So it's a natural evolution. So a PO who is not comfortable with the product or the domain is going to give you disconnected features. His priorities will keep on changing. 1 week he's going to say something else. After 2 weeks, he's going to say something else. So product vision should be very, very good, which means that the PO should have a vision for the product. So what you can do is you can ask the product managers and product owners to have, what is your product vision? What is your product roadmap? In the sense, what do we deliver in the first quarter? What do we deliver in the second quarter? What is it based on the priority? What have you planned for this product? If they don't have a product vision, then that's a problem. your team will not be productive because they don't know what they are going to build. So how are they going to build for you? So that is another cultural or organizational blocker that you are going to be facing. Then a normal one is technical debt. You will hear this term very often. I will get into this in a little bit more detail later on. But for now, at least for the first set of interviews you start off with, you need to know a little bit. So technical debt on a basic level is anything which is wrong with your current code. So let us say you are in sprint 13. Till sprint 12, you must have a code base, right? In every sprint, you must be doing certain stories and bugs, fixes, and all that. So let us say I have 3,000 lines of code currently. And then I'm starting sprint 13. So whatever is your existing code, if there is any problem there, it is performance issues are there, it is buggy, it is hard coded, there could be multiple problems that could be there. But this can either result in lot of bugs, it can result in unstable behavior, it can result in a lot of customer issues. So, and maybe you cannot build new features because your existing code base doesn't allow you to do that. So there could be multiple problems with your current code base. If that is the case, then this is called technical debt. It could be bugs, it could be performance issues, it could be anything else. It could be design flaws. So technical debt is anything which is wrong with your current code. Now, there will always be a fight between fixing the current code versus doing the new features. So you could end up being in a situation where your development team says, boss, we have to fix the current code. We can't proceed further. Stakeholder will say, no, build new features, because building new features gets in money. Fixing old code is a waste of time from a business point of view that, okay, what are they doing? This should have already been worked. Why it is not working now? In their opinion, what the hell your development team and QA team is doing? Why is it that you have to fix it now? Why there are so many problems? So there will always be a fight between fixing the old code and building the new features. So I'll get into more details on this, but for now, technical debt means issues in your current code. Development team might say, okay, we can't go further. There are too many bugs. There are too many problems. We have to fix those. Management will come to you, say, no, you build new features. So the solution is very simple. You find out some middle ground or balance. The balance is that for technical debt, the capacity should be 10 to 20%. So let us say 100 hours is the availability for your team. 20 hours you can spend on fixing your old code, and it should not exceed 20%. It should be between 10 to 20%. It should not exceed 20%. That is the general rule of thumb. If there is if half of your capacity you need to fix your old code, it's a big problem. How do you deal with that? That we'll get into when I cover technical debt in little more detail. For now, technical debt is a blocker. Why it is a blocker? Because technical debt means there are too many bugs. So then if you have to fix it, that means you cannot take up new features. So what do? You tell your team, boss, we will allocate 20% capacity to fix those bugs. We will not fix them in one shot. Again, agile, incremental, brick by brick. So if it is too much, then 20%. If it is not too much, then 10%. Anything between 10 to 20% should be your ideal capacity size. Anything beyond that, then it's like I earn 10,000 rupees a month. Can I have an EMI of 12,000? No. So EMI, I can only have 3,000-4,000, right? 20, 30, 40%. If it is beyond that, then where is the money for food here? Where is the money for school fees? Where is the money for rent? So that is exactly how technical debt is. Technical debt is exactly like your EMIs. It cannot go beyond 20%. If it goes 20%, then how do you earn your food? How do you do the new features which bring you money? So that is how the analogy is. Is this clear? Can I move forward? Okay. Then another problem is poor story slicing. Poor story slicing is We'll get into more details on it, but on a basic level, as a user, I want to pay for my food in the food delivery app so that I can get the food or the food. Typical user story. So this is a huge requirement because you can either pay through a debit card, you can either use a UPI, you can use maybe Bitcoins, you can use cash on delivery. There are multiple options. So you have to split this story or divide this feature into smaller chunks of functionality. So a lot of teams struggle to break the requirements into smaller pieces. So next week, we will do this story splitting. If there is a huge feature, how do you divide it into smaller pieces? We'll take examples from different domains. So this is again, a lot of teams struggle to do this. They take up too many things at once, and it's like stuffing the whole pizza at once, like what small kids do. They don't. So then parents teach you, boss, no, you have to take small bites. Exactly like this. Sometimes being a Scrum Master is parenting. Positive and negative both. Sometimes you'll do exceedingly well, like with kids, you can do anything. And yet, my daughter tells me, Papa, you're useless. I said, yeah, that's true, beta. So this is exactly how you will see. You will do everything for the team. Sometimes somebody will say, oh, you are useless. You don't do anything. So it's like parenting. You know the pain of parenting. You will do everything for your kid. At the end of the day, they may say, oh, you are not doing anything. So in some parts, Scrum Master is that sort of role also. Anyway, so the bottom line is that they have to divide the features into smaller chunks by using, there are a lot of different techniques. The most important technique of them is spider, which we'll get into more details when we go this. We have to use invest and blah, blah, blah. So all of that we'll cover in the user story. But for now, you can say bigger requirements, and then bigger requirements are a big blocker. So you have to divide the requirements into smaller pieces. And that happens in the grooming call using various techniques like invest, spider, so on. And those we'll discuss in the next week. Okay, then access or permission issues, very common problem. People don't have database access, people don't have Git access, people don't have and these accesses keep on lingering on and wasting a lot of time. So those also Scrum Master has to sort out with IT or onboarding teams. So most of the time Scrum Master will be involved in the onboarding of the new. So that also is your day-to-day activity or something that Scrum Master does, onboarding. New people come, and offboarding also when people go. So when onboarding comes, you have to make sure either a team is there, or sometimes the Scrum Master would do it, or sometimes there is a separate operations team that can help you. So you can raise the request for somebody. Suppose Kiran joins in, I'll tell Priyanka, okay, Kiran has joined in. Priyanka is the ops team person. Okay, you raise the request. Or some organizations, Scrum Master would raise those requests himself, database, Git, whatever else is required, iCard and all those jazz. So onboarding and access provisioning, that is something also which will act as a blocker, and Scrum Master has to help in those things also. Then ineffective communication, which is the last I'm covering, but it is probably the most important. Most teams fail because of lack of communication. People don't want to talk to each other. People just don't want to. I raise a bug. I am a QA. It's a critical bug. It's a critical problem with one of the key features. I will put it in Jira. This is a problem. And we need a fix today. No, so let us say I am the QA and I assign this to Pyali. Now, Pyali is not sitting there just monitoring her emails and refreshing Jira every 5 minutes. She misses this. I have a bug, right? There is some requirement which Pyali did. She wrote a code on some feature and I was testing it. Is this clear? I am testing it. And now after testing, I find there is some problem in her code. Typically, how it would work is you would put that there is a problem in your code. I would put that in one of the Jira tickets. Then 1 day later, 2 days later, Pyali will check and then she will work on it. And then also she may not be aware of what are the intricacies or the details on it. So Agile says, but this is a bad way of communicating if you are depending on emails or pings or Jira updates. Agile says, boss, you are going to break down like this. If you want a fast-paced development, then QA has a bug. Okay, Pyali, hello, you have a problem. This is the problem. This is the scenario. This is the thing. Pyali says, okay, I need clarification. You need a PO. Okay, PO, you come. You sort it out. Within 15 minutes of that communication on an audio or a video call, this is sorted and Pyali is fixing this issue. So this is a proper way of communicating, fast communication, which is face-to-face communication, audio or video calls. Otherwise, I email Pyali, there is a problem. Pyali emails a product owner. All this email business is a way not to do the work in a fast manner. And this is what most people will resort to. Nahi karna kaam. They don't want to work. I also don't want to work, but can't help it. You have to work. So you have to encourage people to have fast communication, which is audio, video, or in-person communication. And then there will be groupism, racism, then all sorts of targeting, politics. So all that sort of culture also you have to build, where you have to make sure you do agile games, team building exercises, bonding exercises, so that people are not afraid of each other. Nobody is complaining about anybody. That complaint culture should not be there. Oh, look at Omkar. He is not doing his bugs. Omkar says Sudipta is not testing. Kiran says Joey is not doing things. Joey says Priyanka is not doing things. This is a typical example of most of the teams, how people just bitch around and complain. This entire culture is a big problem for productivity. This will break down the team's productivity. People will not want to talk to each other, and sometimes people will not want to get along with each other. So you have to do team building exercises, retrospectives, blame-free culture, and set clear communication norms. That if I ping Pyali, then in how many hours she is supposed to ping back. If I email somebody, what is the SLA that I can hear back? So there should be clear team agreements on communication. If I want to reach out to anybody through ping, what is the time I can expect to get a response back? Email, what is the time I can respond back? And people can mention, okay, available from this to this hours, not available from this to this hours. Team communication should not break down. Team should be comfortable in talking to each other and reaching out to each other. If that is not happening, then it will break down your productivity. Is this?
Sir, can you explain team building activities, some example actually? Please.
Team building activities, we'll have one. Actually, I'll get a session on some of these 1 or 2 activities. Okay. So you can do some agile games, icebreakers and all that. I'll get into that. Okay. Yes, Deepak.
Based on this topic only, like in my previous company, product company, actually it was a banking company. So we had a scrum master. So like for team building activity, he used to, within our team, so we had around 3-4 teams. So to our team, he used to make us play games and play cards, and he used to do all that. So that is
what
team
kind of
building.
games you used to play?
With sticky notes, he used to make people play like, what do you think
Lies
of?
and a truth and all those kind of games.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that is team building, right? Okay.
That is team building.
Okay.
Sometimes these agile games don't work. Let them talk movies or cricket or what.
Yeah, we also used
Travel,
to do that.
food, just have them talk to each other. Yeah. And if somebody comes to you with any complaint, don't react. Say that this guy is doing wrong or incorrectly something. Blame the practice, but never blame the individual. So let us say somebody is not doing a code review. So you say the code review process is a problem. Don't say Omkar is doing code review incorrectly. So you have to revisit so you can always blame the process, but never blame the people. So if Joy is smoking cigarette is the problem, not Joy. So you can blame smoking cigarette is a problem, not doing code reviews is a problem, not reassessing the bugs is a problem, but not the people. So blame the practice, but never blame the people. So that sort of culture is the ask. Okay. Okay, so now we have a very high level overview of what are your day-to-day blockers. You can get into any basic interviews and they will basically ask you this only. Then they will ask you estimation techniques, then story pointing and all those things. That we'll cover next week, but you can still start giving your interviews based on these blockers. But there are too many other things also that we have to cover. But at least on a basic level, you are aware of day-to-day challenges that you get. Please correct me if I am wrong. My understanding is that you guys are okay with all these blockers. You should be able to explain these blockers. If you are not able to explain these blockers, please ask me. Without explaining these blockers, there is no chance. These are like your bread and butter. This is what you do in your day-to-day life. All these issues you will get in your daily stand-ups and other calls. And you know these are the problems and you know these are the potential solutions. Then we'll get into more details of these things. Okay. Any questions, clarifications, concerns on these blockers? Yeah, Mohammed sir.
Yeah, you told like we shouldn't be like blaming any person, so we should be blaming the process, right?
Correct.
So if we are blaming the process, that means that the process which we are already following is not right. So it needs some improvement. So
Yes.
what sort of improvement is required? So how will we answer that? Because we actually don't know what process is being followed.
No, you see, for example, code review, that process is somebody is not doing the code review. So then you say, what is the process that we are following for code review? Is there any engineering practice? Is there any guidelines on how to do it? If yes, then what is it? Then then if the rest of the team has a process and Omkar is not doing it, then you have a one-on-one call with Omkar. That boss, this is the process of code review. It looks like for some reason this has not been followed. Are there any challenges? Do you understand it? Do you need some coaching or mentoring on this? He says, yes, I need it. Or he says, no, I am doing it perfectly. Then you demonstrate with examples if that is not the case. So how you can help out. So you ask him, what can we do to make this easier for you? Then he'll make you understand whatever his issues are. Then you give him a sprint or two to improve his code review process. Even then, if it is not improving, that can happen, right?
Yeah.
The guy doesn't want to do. So then after 2 or 3 sprints, if you see that already there is a process of code review. By the way, code review is when in the development box, the code reaches the development box and from the local. So I get a code, I write it in my local machine, and then it goes to the dev box. In the dev box, the code is final, but somebody has to review it, whether it is the correct code. There are certain parameters they will check. Hard coding, every organization has different sort of coding standards. So as per that, it is there or not, whatever. So whether the process is there or not, okay. Is rest of the team following it? Yes. So Omkar is the only exception to the rule. So It could be that there is no process itself. Then you have to establish a process with your tech leads and the engineering team and the architect. Let us say the process is there, everything is there, but Omkar is not following. And you have a one-on-one, he's saying that he understands it and he will do it. Now, still after 2-3 sprints, that does not happen. Then again, no blaming in the public. Then again, you one-on-one with Omkar. Looks like after 3 weeks later also, or 3 week sprints also, this is not improving. So in now we have to talk to your delivery manager or reporting manager, line manager. And if this does not improve, then there will be a serious action taken. So then you call his line manager, then boss, this is the problem. This is the solution. These are the steps which we have done. We have explained him. Everybody else has been able to follow. Omkar himself is able to do it for some stories, but not able to do for some stories. So what is the solution now? Can we help him out? Again, this is not an escalation. Still, you are still trying to help. You are going to give people as much chance as possible to improve their habits and behavior. That is your role. You are a productivity coach also. So in that sense, you have to help people out as much as possible. Till the time, so first one-on-one, second one-on-one, then with his technical lead, with technical lead, they also say, okay, we'll do it. Still, there is no improvement. Then you say, boss, if this is not happening, then the quality of the code will be impacted. There will be bugs. There could be serious consequences for the team. So if this behavior does not improve for the next 2 more weeks, then you will have to find some other project or product for him where there will be little relaxed coding reviews or less strict guidelines. Still, you don't say you are an idiot. Why are you not doing it? Well, you don't get into that. You have to be a professional and follow these guidelines. So the only easiest way to lose respect is to lose your temper. The minute you lose your temper, you lose your grip on the team. That's Scrum Master, man. And people lose their tempers. That's why people don't get respected. You are disrespecting me. You are screaming at me. Yet I am not. That is how to earn respect. Inside me, I want to punch you, but I can't do this because I know that will be a wrong tactic and the strategy. My entire job hinges around whether I can handle pressure or not, because I am not going to code or test. My entire thing is to have the pressure handling and the how to change the behavior of people to get them into right practices. So let us say extreme case. Now, even after all these things, Omkar is not improving. Sorry, Omkar, I am just bashing. So Omkar doesn't improve, then of course you talk to the HR and you go to the resourcing managers, and then you will release that person from your product and he will be on bench, or they will take care of that person in whatever way they can. But there is a process. You first understand why somebody is not able to follow that practice. First of all, is practice or process established there? Yes. Is everybody else able to do it? Yes. Is he not able to do it? Why? Can we explain him the process? Can we give him time to change his behavior? Yes. Even after repeated calls to change the behavior, is there a change? No. Involve his line manager. If still not happening, another 10-15 days. Tell him the consequences of what he is doing. Still no change, then you find some other product for him or bench, whatever is doing. Fair, right? Okay. By the way, this I'll cover. This is just an overview, but a typical step-by-step process we'll get into when we get into behavioral issues. But this is just to explain what your question was. Okay. Now I'm going to, I think somebody asked some other question. Yeah, what is this? Blocker build or deployment failures. Okay. I think this will be more clear. I think you need a little bit more details. So when we do CI/CD, by the way, if you have both the PPTs, in one of the PPTs, It's there, that process. Once you
Yes, sir,
understand
second.
that process, you will have a better
Yeah,
understanding of
yesterday you provided now that PPT in that
it.
actually last
Yes,
one only. Yes,
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 yes, yes. So build is you are creating, I'll not get into too much details now, we'll get into. So build is you create an artifact. For example, I'm coding in Java. So if I'm coding in Java, I will produce a jar file. So that jar file, so you will build into a jar file. So sometimes you're not able to produce. I'm just giving you a random example. It depends on the technology. Basically, your developers will tell you your build is failing. That's enough for you. Inside what is a build, that is a technical call. You can just quickly Google it, what is a build failure and all. You can get more details, but I'll get into this when we do the CI/CD aspect. Who asked that question? Who does that? Wasim sir. Okay, I think Wasim, you have a non-technical background. That is no. So anybody who's non-technical, just give it a good Google of the proper development process. But in case you want to understand it, you can understand it. I'll also do a detailed this thing when we get into the CI/CD part of it. Problem is, if I get into too many details now, we will lose out on the agile aspects. And mostly, if you are non-technical, then even more important that you understand the non-technical aspects of it. You project yourself. So if you are non-technical, then you project yourself more of an agile expert, because they are not hiring you for your coding knowledge or testing, which is not there. They are hiring you for your agile process knowledge. So even more important that you care about. I'll tell you where is that, which is this one sec. Yeah, where is that PPT gone? This is on some 26th or 27th page. It is there, yeah. All the
last
if you look
actually.
at that, if you look at that PPT, you will find that in detail. But I'll also cover it in detail when we go. Okay. Then okay. Now I have to go to. So this blocker is over. Then I'm going to go to next topic. Yeah, somebody has a question.
Yeah, I have a question. These are actually related to the sprint planning, and these questions are already being supplied to us. So there was a
no,
question.
that we'll discuss from now onwards.
Okay. Okay.
So we have 6 events. Out of those 6 events, 5 are official and 1 is unofficial. So again, you guys have to go through this 28th and 29th slide. 28th slide tells you what is a sprint, which we have spoken about in little bit detail. But more details is a sprint could be anything between 1 to 4 weeks. So the minimum sprint is 1 week, the maximum is 4 weeks. It is very rarely that you will have a sprint cycle of more than 4 weeks. By the way, Spotify is very famous for it has 1 day sprints also, multiple releases in a day. They work like crazy, but that's a very extreme example. So typically a sprint size would be minimum 1, but maximum 4. But 1 again will be a very rare. Typically it will be 2 or 3 weeks. 1 and 4 are extreme cases. Very most popular is the 2-week sprint, and sometimes it is a 3-week sprint also. When we go to the user stories next week, then we will understand what sort of sprint cycle is more conducive to what sort of domains. So what do you need to start a sprint? You need a product backlog. Do we all know what is a product backlog? We all know what is a product backlog. Team capacity, we saw how do we get team capacity into hours. Then what do we get after the sprint? We get completed stories. That's our increment. Who is involved in the sprint? The Scrum team. Then there is an event called sprint planning, which is our first event, day 1, first day of your sprint, 10 a.m. This is our first event. Minimum 2 hours, maximum 8 hours. For a 1 week sprint, 2 hours is an ideal time. For a 4-week sprint, 8 hours is the ideal time. Again, these are recommended times. So, but it should not exceed beyond this. For a 1-week sprint or a typically which is 2-week sprint, it should not exceed 4 hours. 2.5, 3.5 hours. But even 4 hours is a huge ask. So it has to be split between 2 sessions. So what do you need to get into a sprint planning? This we'll discuss next week. What is velocity? What is DOR? Product backlog, you understand. So you need a product backlog, you need a velocity, you need a definition of ready. So I think this we discussed, DOR we discussed. So you already know that you need stories which are ready for development to get into sprint planning. Then what is the outcome? Backlog and the sprint goal. Who is there in sprint planning? PO, Scrum Master, and the development team. Can the stakeholders be a part of sprint planning?
Yes, if the team decides, then
Oh.
it's a collaborative decision, maybe.
Stakeholders, you understand, right? CIO, CTO, director, some big guy. Can he be
No.
part of your sprint planning?
No, then
No.
that big guys,
No, it will be different.
then there will be no sprint planning there.
Internal
That's
stakeholders
sprint
we can
ready.
They won't
see.
understand the technical things, and
Internal stakeholders,
they
I
know
think.
the requirements, but they don't understand the technical things. What is happening?
But
The guidance will
sprint
go.
planning.
So what if some
Yeah, but
stakeholder is technical, then he come?
no. Actually, sprint planning is like whatever we are going to do within that sprint, the work we are going to take up, like the developers will be taking up. So, what is the work of the stakeholders there?
It is the teams.
Answer is very simple. Stakeholders should not be there because they can influence the decisions of the team. They can put unnecessary pressure on the team.
Yeah.
If my CIO or CTO is sitting, can I say I can't do this? This is too big a story. I will not be able to do it. It's not possible, right? So stakeholders should never be a part of the sprint planning because it takes away the freedom from the Scrum team to express their opinions honestly. Because you want to assess whether they can see. Sprint planning is where they can assess how many stories to pick and do, in what order, what dependency, and they don't need that unnecessary pressure of delivery. If you are going to put that delivery pressure on them, then things will be unproductive. So that is what Agile says. In reality, what happens, that's a different thing. But the recommended world-class practice here is that PO, Scrum team, and SM has to be there, and no stakeholders should be there. But by the way, what is a sprint planning? That is the first question that you have received. What is sprint planning? Can anybody tell me what is sprint planning? How do you define? If they ask you in the interview, what is sprint planning, then what is your answer?
It is where we divide the features into user stories.
No.
Sprint planning is where
It is
the
that.
Scrum team gets together to decide on what should be the like what user stories will be worked on for that sprint.
Are you guys going through the sessions, or are you waiting for next month to do that? If you are waiting for next month, that month is never going to arrive. I am telling you, if you can get an offer letter within these 2 months, I'm telling you it is better. Out of sight, out of mind. If you don't connect on an everyday basis, it will be very difficult. So please don't delay your revisions. Okay. So anyways, yeah, Sudipta.
I'm sorry, I cannot come to the camera. Like the sprint planning is, I think, deciding the sprint goal, like working towards the sprint goal by a group of developers or people who
Sprint
are in the
planning is where
Scrum
the
team.
Scrum team decides what is their capacity, and out of the given set of stories which are ready for development, how many of those they will take up in the current sprint. They decide the scope of the sprint. They decide the sprint goal. So They declare their capacity, which means they tell their leaves and everything. It is 1 to 2 hour event, which is the first event of your sprint. Day 1 of your sprint starts with sprint planning, where PO, SM, and the Scrum team are there, and they declare what is their capacity. Then they have a ready for development stories, and out of which they decide how many stories they are going to pick up. We saw that live in Jira, right? Sprint planning, where we picked up stories. You have forgotten just 2 days back what we.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We remember.
You remember all these
Yes,
things,
we
right?
remember.
Okay, that is good. So sprint planning is very simple, where you decide what are the stories you are going to be doing in that particular sprint based on your availability
Capacity.
Okay.
and capacity.
Bandwidth.
Based on your capacity and based on your availability. Your capacity is your agile capacity sheet that you are going to make. You are looking like I've never told you all these things.
We
Agile
have it.
capacity sheet we saw, right? Those hourly.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we'll get through. I'll show you that again on Monday. But don't look at me like we've never talked about these things. So there is an agile capacity sheet which the Scrum Master will prepare and find the capacity. Then there is a historical record of how many stories the team is able to do in the past sprints. That also Scrum Master will provide. So availability and capacity. Capacity is how many stories have we completed in the past. That is your capacity. If the team is on an average doing 5 stories, then that's their capacity, right? Sometimes they do 7, sometimes they do 8, sometimes they do 4, sometimes they do 6. So on an average, if they are completing 5 stories, so that's their capacity, correct? So that's the capacity, and the availability sheet is what you will create with the team. So based on those two things, then there will be a product backlog which will have ready for development stories. You will pick those stories and then promise to the product owner, okay, this is how many stories we are going to do. That is, and whatever you decide is your sprint backlog, how many stories you decide, and then within the team you decide based on whatever you have picked up, you decide this is our sprint goal. Is this clear? You are not giving me very good vibes, team. So, no, please go through, or is it just long weekend that is distracting? I think it is the long weekend. Anyways, so who is responsible for setting the sprint goal?
Whole Scrum team.
Scrum.
It's
From
product.
members.
Whole
Scrum team.
So, Rupa, you have gone through the first and the second session recordings, right?
Yeah, first session recording I've gone through. So still more I have to go with it.
So okay. All of you can please go through the recordings in the weekend, and then probably we can start fresh. But okay, so the entire Scrum team, what is Scrum goal, by the way? It is nothing but business objective. From a developer, he says, okay, I have to build a login page. Somebody says, I have to create an API. Those are all your technical things. Sprint goal is the business objective. Business owner says, product owner says, we have to build login functionality, or we have to integrate, we have to introduce browser menu, we have to build a sales report. From the functional point of view, whatever business says, your business objective is your sprint goal. Is this clear?
Yes,
so you can't say, oh, I have to create an API, I have to fine tune database server. Those are not business objectives. Those are technical things that you are doing. Business objective is which feature you are going to build. So your sprint goal is which feature are you going to build, or which feature are you going to enhance. Is this clear to all of us? Very important that you get the sprint goal. Okay. So give me an example of a sprint goal.
Creating logging functionality.
Well, that is an example we gave. Give me another one.
Forgot password.
Hmm?
Forgot password. Actually,
That is a particular story, right? That's a particular piece. But what is the feature? On a feature level, it is the same login functionality. So let us say we are
Geographical
in a
map
banking
functionality.
domain, or let us say we are in a healthcare domain. So in a healthcare domain, PO says we are building some healthcare products. So we are building patient dashboard. So that becomes our sprint goal, building patient dashboard, where patient logs in and checks his
Reports, medical
illness
reports, and all.
history and everything. Maybe you are in a banking domain, so you have to enable instant balance refresh after fund transfer. So whenever you do a transfer, I need to have an instant balance SMS. So enabling instant balance transfer, real-time notification after the fund transfer, that becomes my sprint goal. Whatever feature you are building, that is your sprint goal. Okay.
Payment feature also.
I just wanted to, yeah.
Hmm.
Like I wanted to ask, like, is it like adding a Visa card or a Master card in a mobile application for payment? Can that be a goal?
So you can say enhancing payments options, something like that, or you are
Okay.
enhancing payment gateway feature, something like that.
Okay.
Okay. Then your third question: how do teams determine their capacity?
Their leaves, unplanned leaves, emergency situations, technical debt. Um, so these are the things, sir.
So
holiday.
so your capacity is basically two things. One, how many stories you are able to complete, and what is your availability. So your capacity is a combination of two things. How many hours the team is available for, and how many stories they have completed in the past. Is the concept clear to you guys?
Yes.
So let us say the team is typically available for 100 hours in a sprint. And then they are completing on an average 5 stories. Then that's the combination. How this works in Jira, we will see on probably Monday or Tuesday. We'll see how this works and how do you determine this in Jira and how do you find it out, so that practically you can see all these things. Then fourth question is a tricky question. So let's handle fifth question first and then we'll do the fourth question. So what fifth question is, how does product owner influence sprint planning? Influence mean what does he do in sprint planning? That's your cue. So what is the role of the product owner in sprint planning?
Refine product backlog items, prioritize according to the value,
Prioritize.
the business objective. These two are the main important
So
events of the
first
product
thing
owner.
is you are saying that prioritization of
Prioritizing
the stories.
Stories.
Stories, by the way, guys, are requirements come in the form of a stories in agile teams. Okay, so requirements in the form of a user story. So who will decide which stories we will do first, which stories we will do later on? Product owner.
product owner.
He prioritizes the user stories. That is his main role. As a developer, can I decide, oh, this is an easy story, I will do first? Bullshit, I don't care about it. Can you do that?
No,
You can't.
no, it's not allowed.
The order of these stories will be determined by the product owner. Of course, you can request that, okay, this sounds easy, I can do it in one day, and then next day I'm going to start this, and this story is dependent on the second story. So that sort of, but the priority of the story is by the PO. So that is what he does. He prioritizes the stories. He clarifies the acceptance criteria also. And he also helps the team to guide the sprint goal. Sprint goal, the main objective, or the who will set the sprint goal, it is the PO. Can a PO decide, boss, you will do this story, you will do that story, and like
Negative.
that in the sprint
No.
planning?
No.
If that is happening, it is a very bad practice. PO cannot decide because you are taking away the freedom from the team to decide their stories. You are forcing them into stories, and then you will never get the ownership from them. If Sarvan, Vasim, Rupa, they will pick up their own work. Okay, Sarvan says, I'm going to do this. Chavan sir says, I'm going to do this. Piali says, I'm going to do this. Then the ownership will automatically come. Forcing should not be there. Okay, that we'll do the last question and then we'll wind up for today. Then overcommitment is a tricky one. So next question is, what factors should be considered while selecting? So basically, what factors should be there before we decide which story to pick up?
Skill set capacity, availability, velocity,
and priority of the story.
Clarity, DOR,
Priority.
like
Priority and availability.
That is
story
first.
should be ready.
This I agree with all of you. So this is a question which is very important, and Scrum Masters should know. How does a team decide which story to pick up?
most valuable product, topmost product in the PBI.
Yeah, I get you. Priority which is set by the
Which is
product.
PO.
which
I
is
get it. Based on the
no,
priority, yes. Okay.
but this
Then number two.
the story has to be ready as well.
Story has to be ready for development. Also, it means DOR, it
DOR.
should meet DOR. What is DOR? We'll get into it. Basically, there is a checklist which the team sees that the story is ready for coding or not. There is a certain set of
Requirements and all, technical requirements, everything is ready.
So it should meet DOR, it should be, and then what next? One most important thing, apart from priority, and it is ready for development.
Acceptance criteria. Is it acceptance criteria?
Acceptance criteria is a part of your DOR.
Capacity.
Access, everything.
Main thing. Come on, main thing.
Critical.
Think over it,
Capacity.
yeah.
Capacity of the team.
Capacity, yes. I give you that. Capacity, yes, it's there. But what is whether
It can be completable.
they have to think whether they are able to do this in a 2-week sprint or not.
Time go.
Whether it is a 3-week sprint or a 1-week sprint or a 4-week sprint, whatever is the sprint duration, then they have to decide whether they will be able to complete it within that time or not. That assessment they have to do. Whether they can actually complete it or not, that is secondary.
Estimation.
That is secondary. They have to assess estimation whether they feasibility in a 2-week sprint, whether they can do it in the, and then of course whether there are any dependencies. If there is a dependency, you can't do this unless you cannot build X feature unless Y is available. So you build Y first, then you come to X. So is there any dependency? So priority, we all agree, right? Priority is the first thing.
Yes.
Do we all agree? We also agree that it should be ready for development. So there is something called ready for development. There is a checklist. It should be ready for development also, the DOR. Then we also see that we have to check whether it is doable in 2 weeks or not. Then is there any other dependency on this or not? So those are the 3-4 main things. There are others also, but these are 4 main things. Okay, go through the sessions again, and then we'll have an extended session on Monday. I'll go through the probably user stories first. Once you understand user stories, then what is user story grooming, then we'll get into all these events in much more details. So next week will be entirely your grooming and events. That will be the core part of your job. Then next to next week will be metrics. How will you send reports and all those things? Then next to next week will be if spillovers are there, if we are not able to complete our stories, then how will you find out, what will you do, all those things. Then we'll go to Kanban, then other set of things. Okay, I think, sorry, I have to rush now. We can't extend much, but I hope you have blockers are clear, and then the starting of sprint planning is also clear, the basics. We'll get into more details. Okay, team. Yeah, I'll not take questions now. Monday, first thing we'll take. Have a very nice extended weekend, but please go through the sessions. Don't look at me like I have never spoken about these things. Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
Independence
Happy
Day.
weekend.
Have fun.